Are you in need of a gorgeous custom t-shirt? Let HC3 Customs create one for you. HC3 Customs is one of Etsy's top custom t-shirt shops. With designs and quality that are unmatched, HC3 Customs strives to customize many styles of t-shirts to fit your needs perfectly. Whether it's a unisex tee for an upcoming holiday or event for dad, or maybe a cute raglan or tank top for mom, visit hc3customs.etsy.com to shop existing designs or to custom order one today. Use promo code podcast at checkout to get 30% off your order. That's hc3customs.etsy.com.
Internet Storytellings, Tales from the Web, an anthology podcast of scary stories and creepypasta. Subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play. Baby Wipes by Hayong from Reddit's No Sleep subreddit. So do you guys remember the whole I found glass pieces in my Huggies diaper phase? Basically, a lot of parents complained on all platforms of social media about how they could see glass pieces on the baby wipes they used on their babies. It ended up being a false alarm, just chemicals they use in their baby wipes to clean the baby shit better. My name is Marshall, and I was one of the guys that thought all of the parents freaking out were stupid as fuck. I mean, they really were. Who the fuck would accidentally put glass in a million baby wipes? That's when I found boxes of recalled baby wipes sitting in the middle of a local church. I grabbed up 2 boxes before I walked the 2-mile distance home. You see, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment with 4 other people. John and Richard were my 2 friends from college. We all dropped out the first year. Zach was a guy I went to a bunch of parties with. He was around 35 years old, but he never complained about how late we stayed up or how loud we were. Shit. I mean, he was usually the one causing the most noises and staying up the latest. Brian was a friend of Richard. I was a little skeptical of him at first, but after I realized how much of a great guy he really was, I ended up becoming more close to him than anyone in the house. He was 22 years old and was always trying to find ways to better all of our lives. He would go out and walk around the city until he could come back home with a huge stack of job applications for all of us. The rent was $400, but we barely made enough to pay the rent as well as buy everything we needed for the month. We were close friends, but the last couple of days were the absolute worst. Fuck, I mean, we couldn't even buy toilet paper. But that is what happens when all of us made most of our money from odd jobs and begging on the street. We didn't all go out on the same day to beg for money. We took turns. The original deal was that while a group would beg for money, the others would go around town and look for jobs. Brian was the only one that fulfilled both jobs. That is why I lugged 2 boxes of foreign-looking baby wipes 2 days ago. When I walked through the door, I saw my 4 roommates sitting in the living room. I threw the boxes in the middle of the living room and started tossing them packs of baby wipes. Everyone blankly stared at the item in their hands except for Brian. He looked up at me and said, dude, thank you. I've gotten tired of having to take an ass shower every time I take a shit. I laughed and walked to my couch in the living room. We all watched a couple of TV shows until around 1 in the morning. During that time, we all used the baby wipes for our bathroom trips. Yesterday morning, I woke up to probably the itchiest asshole ever. I ran into the restroom and, I looked at my asshole and saw that there were tiny bumps surrounding the hole. I tried pressing on a couple of the bumps, but it just made it even itchier. I'm not stupid. I knew the bumps came from the baby wipes. So for the next day, I didn't use the baby wipes. I warned the others, but none of them had any kind of discomfort from the baby wipes. Well, not until 3 p.m. Zach ran out of the room with what seemed like a bloated sausage in his hand. It took me a minute to realize that it was his dick. Fuck, before it could even tell us how much it hurt, I knew. There were 2 huge bumps on each side of his deformed limb. He started screaming at me, "What the fuck, dude? What the fuck is going on? Dude, you're fucking twisted. You're fucking evil, you piece of shit." In the middle of his screaming, one of the bumps exploded. Thin tissues hung loosely around the gap of what seemed like where the semen and urine traveled through to exit out of the body. Blood started to pour out of the exposed flesh. He tried to grab it and stop the bleeding, but the blood continued to come out of the gaps of his hand and spill down his fingers. I heard a soft pop come from inside of his hands, and Zach let out a silent scream before passing out. I called the ambulance, and paramedics rushed into our apartment about 10 minutes after I made the call. When they placed him on the gurney, his arms hung limply off the side of it, and the tip of his dick barely hung off his body by 2 small strands of tissue barely hanging on. Brian was with me when they took Zach away on the ambulance. He asked me, "Yo, what the hell is going on? What the fuck happened to Zach?" After a couple of seconds, I responded back to almost a whisper. Please, man, just shit. Please tell me that you didn't use the baby wipes." Brian put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Yeah, man, I used it once last night, but this morning I found a couple of small bumps on my butt. I figured I should just stop using them after that." I let out a small sigh of relief and said, "Yeah, there is something really wrong with these baby wipes. I found a small bumps around my fucking asshole. It sounds dumb, but shit, dude. I knew that I shouldn't use it. I tried to tell the others to stop using them, but they didn't listen." Brian went into his room after our talk, and I didn't see him for the rest of the day. Around 9 p.m., John and Richard came home from their day out on the streets. Richard sat on the couch and started watching TV. John looked at me for a second and asked, "Where's Zach?" I told them about how Zach was now in the hospital. I told them about how his dick was fucked up from the baby wipes. I begged them not to use them. They looked at me while I told them everything. After I was done speaking, it was quiet for a few minutes. Richard finally spoke up, with a voice slightly above a whisper. He said, "So yeah, well, we will stop using those baby wipes. Fuck it. I made enough money today to get a pack of toilet paper. What is Brian doing now?" I shook my head and gave them a shrug before I got comfortable on my couch and fell asleep. I woke up this morning with the worst pain coming from my bum. I ran into the restroom and saw that there was now only one large bump poking out of the asshole. With a deep breath, I poked at the bump. The bump was light pink and white dots floating around. I poked at it several times until the bump popped. I knew that there would be a lot of muscle missing from that section, but I wasn't prepared for what I was about to see. Tiny, clear, worm-like creatures were latched onto my flesh. They were burrowing themselves inside of my flesh. I tried to grab them out, but all I managed to do was tear more of my flesh out. With strips of ass muscle hanging from my hands, I passed out. When I woke up, it was around 8 in the morning. I was feeling really lightheaded, but I managed to get onto the couch and call 911. I don't know what happened to my roommates, but when the paramedics walked through my door, I passed out again. I woke back up at the hospital. I'm afraid to look at what happened to me, but I still feel something within me. Little fucking shit swimming inside of me. Fuck. I'm writing to you guys. When baby wipes get recalled, don't trust that shit. They're recalled for a reason. Like I said, there are thousands of unknown parasites eating my flesh and dwelling inside my body. I don't know what happened to the others. Please let me know if you used baby wipes called Cleaner Than a Newborn. If you somehow survived this shit, please let me know. I need all of the help I can get.